All right, future barristers, welcome. We're about to do a deep dive into a really crucial part of your exam prep. That's Part 20 of the Federal Court Rules on Discovery. Let's crack this code together. So here's our roadmap. We're going to follow the exact journey you take as a litigator. First, we'll get our heads around the basic framework. Then, we'll look at how to actually get a discovery order. After that, we'll cover what you can shield from the other side. And finally, we'll talk about the immense responsibility that comes with all this new information. Okay, first things first. Before you can master discovery, you've got to understand the fundamental building blocks of Part 20. So let's lay that foundation right now. Right out of the gate, you need to draw a really bright line between two key concepts. Discovery is just telling the other side, hey, here's a list of the documents I have. It's the disclosure. Inspection, that's the completely separate, later step where they actually get to see those documents. It's a critical distinction, so don't ever mix them up. And you can see how this all makes perfect sense when you look at how the rules are structured. The whole process is laid out in three really logical divisions that follow that exact distinction we just talked about. Division 20.1 covers general stuff, 20.2 is all about discovery, the disclosure, and Division 20.3 deals with production for inspection. See? Simple. So how do you actually get your hands on the other side's documents? Well, as we're about to see, the court now acts as a gatekeeper. Believe me, the days of just sending a notice and hoping for the best are long gone. The guiding principle, and you need to burn this into your brain, comes straight from Rule 20.11. The court is only going to grant a discovery order if you can prove it's going to help resolve things as quickly, inexpensively, and efficiently as possible. That's your threshold test. Remember that key rule number, 20.11. Now this is an absolute game changer and a must-know for your exams. Under Rule 20.12, discovery is now entirely under the control of the court. You can't give it and you can't get it unless a judge has ordered it. Simple as that. That's Rule 20.12. So when you apply to the court, you have to be specific about what you're asking for. For the bar exam, you absolutely have to be ready to contrast Rule 20.14, which is standard discovery, with all its built-in limits, against the much more extensive Rule 20.15, which is non-standard discovery. You've got to know the difference between 20.14 and 20.15. Okay, so you've got your order. Does that mean you get to see everything? Well, can the other side lawfully refuse to show you a document? Absolutely. Let's talk about the shields that can be raised to block inspection. The answer is a huge, resounding yes. And knowing the grounds for doing so is critical, not just for your exams, but for your whole career. There are two main categories here that we really need to master. First up is what's called public interest immunity, and that's preserved under Rule 20.01. This is where the court has to perform a really careful balancing act. It has to weigh the public interest in keeping a document secret, say, for national security, against the public interest in the administration of justice. That's the core of Rule 20.01. Next up, we have privilege. Now, Rule 20.02 makes it really clear, an order for discovery does not require you to produce a privileged document. For your exam, you have to know the big three: client legal privilege, the privilege against self-incrimination, and penalty privilege. They're all protected under Rule 20.02. This is arguably the single most important ethical rule for a junior barrister to understand. You've used the court's power to get these documents. So now that you have them, what are your obligations? This brings us to what I like to call the sacred oath of Rule 20.03. It's an implied promise to the court that any documents you get through discovery will only be used for the current litigation. You can't use them for some other purpose, like trying to start a new lawsuit. If you breach this, it's a contempt of court. So please, remember Rule 20.03. But wait, there's a huge exception to this undertaking. It's a big one, and you absolutely have to know it. Okay, here it is under Rule 20.03, Subrule 1. If that secret document gets used in open court in a way that reveals what's in it, well, the undertaking is lifted. The cat's out of the bag, the secrecy is gone. Remember that rule, 20.03, Subrule 1. And this is the countermove. Rule 20.03, Subrule 2 is your tool to protect that sensitive information. A party can actually ask the court to put the undertaking back in place even after the document has been used in court. That's Rule 20.03, Subrule 2. Think of it as the exception to the exception. And you know, this is really what it all comes down to. The rules. They give you a framework. But your entire career is going to be defined by how you navigate these profound ethical duties. Mastering Part 20 isn't just about passing an exam, it's about becoming an officer of the court you can be proud of.